I'm Jyotsna Hegde, City News Editor, NRI Pulse. We are here today with Taryn Bowman, who is running for election to the Georgia House of Representatives to represent District 40. Hey, Taryn, welcome to NRI Pulse. Thank you for joining us today.
Thank you.
Let's see. You are running for District 40, which covers areas of Mableton, Smyrna, Bucket, both which belong to Cobb and Fulton counties, and
Yes.
both of which also have very diverse population.
Absolutely.
So how do you think diversity has impacted these districts?
Well, it's pretty amazing because there are four, like you said, almost different areas, and two cities are in there, two counties are in there, unincorporated areas. So we are not cookie cutter, and which is wonderful in itself. And so when it comes to legislation or anything like that, or anything with the community, you have to look at that. It's very important to look at that. It's not one size fits all. And so when you look at things like COVID, or this pandemic, and mask mandates and everything, I'm a huge proponent of local control, and that comes down to our district and even these areas within our district, because I really believe in putting things in the government works for us and not vice versa. And so when it comes to this diversity, I think areas need to decide for themselves what's best for them. So that's the biggest thing to me in diversity, is making sure that we work together in unity, but also do what's best for our communities.
So what are your top 3 priorities for your district?
Well, I have several. I would say, one of the things that I've been most involved in is crime prevention, security. I've worked very closely with Atlanta police officers, with Cobb police officers. I'm on the Fulton County sex trafficking task forces, dealing with that issue in all of Metro Atlanta. So I raise hundreds of thousands of dollars for our officers every year. I even went through legislation and got them a police car, their own police car, which is a huge accomplishment. I'm very proud of that. So that's a big issue, keeping our communities safe. I am not for defunding the police. I am for reforming our police, but not defunding. I'll do anything to support our officers and to keep our community safe, our families safe, because to me, that is a number one thing that everything else stems from: to feel safe in your community, safe where you live, and have your families safe. Another issue is, like I mentioned, and I'll just mention it because I've already talked about it, is local control. I really believe that's paramount. And then, one of my issues at this point, I'm a small business owner. I own Cast My Home. My husband and I are both in the film industry. So this pandemic has hit us hard. It's hit us really hard. And I'm so empathetic to this community. It hits me right in my heart. We didn't have work for a long time. Finally, Ozark which my husband works on, has gone back. They're not going to start shooting until November, but they've gone back because they're changing studios. So I've felt this. And so small businesses, my small business is doing nothing right now, but really getting this community back up, back thriving. I don't want to see any more businesses closing around me. I know these people. I know the owners. These are our community businesses. So one thing I want to do in legislation is make sure we support the businesses, support the families and people in this community to rebound from this pandemic. That's huge for me. Another thing, especially in the area of sterigenics, which is they sterilize medical equipment. And I know a lot of people have heard of sterigenics. That are emitting these ethylene oxide ETOs into the air. We want an environment that we can live and work and play and breathe in, and not having a fear of toxic chemicals, carcinogenics. Uh, so they do provide a necessary service. I mean, it's necessary to sterilize medical equipment. It just doesn't need to be done here. And I have a plan, which I'm not, it's a 7-step plan. I won't go through it today, but you will be hearing about it. That's not, I don't know why, nobody's ever come, I feel like right now it's just a witch hunt, and it's like, we're going to do whatever we can, just be the bad neighbor and get them out. That's not going to work. We have to have a plan that's good, that will get them to leave our community. And I have that plan. I'm not against what they do. And I have a plan to make sure that our community is protected and safe. So those are some of my big issues. I have so many more, but I know you have more questions too. But my issues really revolve around the community, protecting. I've always been a proactive protector of the community. I feel very, very protective of this, of District 40, and so everything that I do pretty much revolves around that.
So you brought up the pandemic. So how do you think the response has been to the pandemic in Georgia?
I think the pandemic is something that's never happened to us before. And I think we're all feeling our way through it. I think, every single day there's new news, there's new information. And I think we're all doing the best we can, because why wouldn't you? I don't think necessarily that anybody was fully prepared for this. And I think we have to look at so many facets of it, because we don't want people dying, obviously. I think at this point, when we responded, when the nation responded, when the states responded, when we as a local, including Smyrna, the city of Smyrna, responded, they're doing what they think is best at the time. Nobody's trying to hurt anybody. Everybody is trying to help. But like I said, when it comes down to the pandemic, I think local control is better control. Not everything that's right for the nation is right for the state. Not everything that's right for the state is right for the city. I think it all comes down to that, but I do think we're doing the best that we can. I think more needs to be done, and I know I have full confidence that next time, knock on wood, it doesn't happen, but should it happen, we're all going to be a lot more prepared, because we've learned a lot from this. Like right now, the hospitals are more prepared, so you're not seeing they have like Piedmont, I know, has a whole extra wing, and things are set up now, so when people get sick, they have a place to go, they have a bed to go, and even if those beds are taken up by COVID patients, if something happens to someone else, they have a spot, they have a place to go. Because that was also scary going, it's not just about COVID, it's about, a car wreck where somebody's about to die. They have to be rushed into that hospital. So it's about everybody else. But I think we're a lot more prepared now. Do I think things could have been done differently? Yes, of course. But we didn't know. It wasn't, I think going forward, things are going to happen in a much better way. But I do think, like I said, my bottom line is the local community and leaving it up to local people. I hope that answers your question, but I just, I think, that moving forward, we are doing the best we can. We're doing the best we can.
I know
all of us, you, me, everybody, we're all doing what we know to do.
I know you have kids, so
yes.
What do you think about schools reopening? The schools reopening, does it need more? How would you think, what is the best way to sort of safely reopen schools?
So yes, I have 3 girls that are in 8th, 9th, and 11th grade. And my heart, really went out at the end of last year. I have a passion for teachers. I have a passion for students, and those seniors, it was hurtful to me. Like, I really felt that too, even though I don't have a senior, to not have that closure in school. But and selfishly, I love my kids here with me. So we with my children, we sort of went into this hybrid mode where they were half the school was going one day, then the other half was going the other day. And now they're back full scale, and they have a lot of precautions. I think with the city and the county schools, I would like to see a phase in like that, but just from personal experience, kids need that. They need that interaction. They need to be together, but it has to be done safely. And the reason why it really has to be done safely and thoughtfully, and like I said, I think it's local again. That school knows best what's for that school. But we have to protect teachers, and we have to protect people in homes, people that these students get back in the communities, and they're thriving and they're happy to be back, and mentally it is good for them. But then again, we have people in more compromised situations, like the teachers. We have to be so thoughtful about that and how to re-enter that learning environment with teachers being protected, with people in the homes being protected. I know fall break's coming up, Thanksgiving's coming up, Christmas is coming up. So people, students, if they're in school and come back, they're going to visit family, they're going to visit friends. So it's not just about the school environment. It's about the outside environment and everyone else. So I think, like I said, locally, you have to be thoughtful. The precautions need to be there. You need to implement, and we need to support the schools in that. Where government kind of comes into play is supporting schools, whether it's county government or city government, and supporting them monetarily to put what they need to put in the schools to sanitize the schools the way that they need to be sanitized, and put in the measures that it will take to get everything going again.
Georgia was one of the 14 states that did not expand Medicaid. And I know that one of them brought it up in the House. I think it was House Minority Leader Bob Trammell. He brought it up. So what is your stand on this issue?
I think, putting Medicaid, I don't think it's a yes or no answer. I don't think it's like that cut and dry of an answer. I guess, are you asking kind of like healthcare during the pandemic?
Well, mostly about the Medicaid, about expanding Medicaid for people that might need it.
Like say if you go to maternal mortality, things like that, it uses expanded federal money, and this is it's a federal kind of thing that the government signed it. This question always other uses of it aren't as targeted, but I think we really have to hone in on like I don't think you can just say, oh, let's expand Medicaid. I think you can hone in on like targeted things, but there's really no cut and dry answer. It's really, when it comes down to it, I would think everybody has a right to health care, and everyone should have health care available to them. But I just think with this question, there are just so many more facets to it. I really do. But I think everybody has the right to health care, and good health care.
There were, long lines and accusations of voter suppression in Georgia during the primaries. Well, how would you respond to that? People are saying because of the long lines, voter suppression, that was one of the accusations. So.
Gosh, these accusations to me are false. It's a false narrative. Because with all the absentee ballot, and that's a whole nother issue. Like people are saying fraud and this and that. There are just so many narratives around all kinds of voting. But the bottom line is early voting starts next week. If you wait till the last day, there are chances of longer lines. It's interesting I get to see who gets absent. I mean, I get to see who gets absentee ballots. I know who has absentee ballots. And so it's interesting to see the breakdown of these absentee ballots and who's getting them and who's not. What I recommend is I don't think I can't go with this voter suppression thing. That's just, we have too many opportunities to vote. I mean, you can vote right now. Like you can vote in person starting literally next week. So how can that be suppression? What I don't want to see people do is wait till the last minute. And I'm hearing like in some election places there, that senior citizens can go to the front of the line, and there's some accommodation for that, which is good, because the more people that wait till election day, the longer the lines are going to be, the less likely somebody is going to be not voting because it might rain. There might be long lines. You might not want to wait in the lines. Something might come up. You might be sick. But that's not voter suppression. That's you waiting till the last minute, which is fine. Election day is fine. It's fun to vote on election day. It's fine. But just know that there's so many opportunities to vote. I mean, my gosh, social media is like inundating us all with vote, 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 vote. Get your absentee ballot and vote. There are just so many opportunities that there's not voter suppression in my mind.
Well, given the protests and, the riots with regards to Black Lives Matter movement, what are your thoughts about, police reform?
Like I said before, I'm very involved in the police and preventing crime. I am not for defunding the police. I will say no every time to defunding the police. But I'm absolutely for police reform. What I see as a major issue is demoralization of the police right now. I think a lot of policemen that I know personally are leaving. They're just like, this isn't worth it anymore. It's not worth it. So what I would like to see is like them being built up. But kind of my point in that when they leave, who replaces them? Who replaces them? If our good officers are leaving, we are going to be hiring and probably more subpar officers, and that's an issue. I think if you build up your police, if you moralize them, is that a word? if you support them, then in turn you are going to reform them. I think they need more money for training, more money for showing how to deal with us, the citizens. I think training, reforming is a good thing, but we need the good officers in there to do that. And that's about supporting them, giving them the money they need. I mean, an officer, they're not paid for what they do. I mean, they literally put their life on the line every day for us. And do you think they're leaving their homes and their families going, they're leaving saying, I want to come back to you at the end of the day. Just like all of us are, we love our families and we want to protect them. So I think they need our support. And the whole program does need to be reformed, but not defunded.
Well, you mentioned you are a small business owner, and so given that most of them, are just either barely there, or, at least majority of them. So do you have any sort of plans to sort of address these issues, after the elections, if you're elected?
With small businesses?
What small businesses?
I mean, I could go on and on, but one thing, income tax. I would like to see it gone or lower to like maybe even a 10% flat rate. We have to do something because we do that and that money is going to go into those businesses and we're going to see a thriving economy. So yeah, I do, but it all revolves around making sure that these businesses get money back into them to get out of the hole that they may be in now. I mean, like I said, some have closed, and some are struggling to hold on, and I hope they can hold on until I'm in there in March, because whatever I can do to figure out, we've got to get them support in whatever way we can. And I believe, that could come in the form of tax reformation too.
Indian Americans like Karthik Bhatt are supporting your campaign. What do you know about Indian people and the Indian culture? And why should the community vote for you?
Okay. Well, why the community should work for me is because I will work for them. I will work for you. I will work for you. And that's the thing. I feel very proud of, I guess, of what I've done in the past, and the people that know me, and they're Republicans and Democrats. I'm a Republican, but I have Democrats that know me and have worked with me that are putting door hangers on doors for me because it's about you. It's about the community, and they know what I've done. They know that that's what I'm about. And, when it comes to politics and legislation, it's being able to listen. It's being able to understand. It's being able to really be effective and get things accomplished. It's not about partisan politics and the next like social, media opportunity and making a big headline. When I was 6, I moved from Athens to Atlanta when my father became revenue commissioner. And I grew up around policy and politics, but I grew up in a time where your integrity meant something, and you could, argue like he was an attorney. So you could be in a courtroom at one time and come out and have lunch with your opponent, and you're on the same side, you're on the same team. Yes, you have different views and you have different ways to get somewhere. But in the end, you have to work together and you have to be effective. And, one thing I like about your community is I think you'll do that. You'll work together, and it's inspiring to me because I think you're effective. You stick together, you work together, and you're out there and you're helping and you're being like what you're doing right now is wonderful. You're involved. You're effective. You accomplish things. And so I highly respect every individual and every individual community in this area. And maybe you can tell me more.
We could do that. That would take a whole lot of time, but
I know, like, really, because I know that I would love to be able to at any time, even after November, whatever, just come and meet, like be in person and just listen, honestly.
Oh yeah, we would love to do that. I would love to do that. And maybe you can, well, we don't have a lot of events now because of the pandemic, or
Right.
we would have had like multitude of events going on. So we would have definitely invited you to one of those.
Yes, thank you. And I'll look forward to it once this is over.
Surely. Well, thank you. Thank you for talking to our iPulse.
Thank you so much. And I do look forward to meeting you guys and doing whatever I can to help all of you, each individually and everything, because that's who I am. So thank you.
Sure. Thank you.
Have a good day.
Thank you. You too.
Bye.
Bye.